Xin chào các bạn, để các bạn có thể học được hiệu quả nhất thì các bạn hãy làm theo các bước như sau nha. Bước 1, mình sẽ xem video và ghi chú từ mới vào vở. Bước 2, làm quiz từ vựng ở trên link Quizlet. Bước 3, trả lời câu hỏi bài tập. Tất cả các link Quizlet và link bài tập thì cô đều để ở bên dưới video này nhé. Các bạn nhớ là khi mà mình làm Quizlet thì mình nhớ log in vào trong cái tài khoản mà cô đã cung cấp cho các bạn để luyện tập nha. And I'm gonna see you later.
Procrastination. A psychologist explains why we put off important tasks and how we can break this habit. Procrastination is the habit of delaying a necessary task, usually by focusing on less urgent, more enjoyable, and easier activities instead. We all do it from time to time. We might be composing a message to a friend who we have to let down, or putting together an important report for college or work. We're doing our best to avoid doing the job at hand, but deep down we know that we should just be getting on with it. Unfortunately, berating ourselves won't stop us procrastinating again. In fact, it's one of the worst things we can do. This matters because, as my research shows, procrastination doesn't just waste time, but is actually linked to other problems too. Contrary to popular belief, procrastination is not due to laziness or poor time management. Scientific studies suggest procrastination is, in fact, caused by poor mood management. This makes sense if we consider that people are more likely to put off starting or completing tasks that they are really not keen to do. If just thinking about the task threatens our sense of self-worth or makes us anxious, we will be more likely to put it off. Research involving brain imaging has found that areas of the brain linked to detection of threats and emotion regulation are actually different in people who chronically procrastinate compared to those who don't procrastinate frequently. Tasks that are emotionally loaded or difficult, such as preparing for exams, are prime candidates for procrastination. People with low self-esteem are more likely to procrastinate. Another group of people who tend to procrastinate are perfectionists, who worry their work will be judged harshly by others. We know that if we don't finish that report or complete those home repairs, then what we did can't be evaluated. When we avoid such tasks, we also avoid the negative emotions associated with them. This is rewarding, and it conditions us to use procrastination to repair our mood. If we engage in more enjoyable tasks instead, we get another mood boost. In the long run, however, procrastination isn't an effective way of managing emotions. The mood repair we experience is temporary. Afterwards, people tend to be left with a sense of guilt that not only increases their negative mood, but also reinforces their tendency to procrastinate. So, why is this such a problem? When most people think of the costs of procrastination, they think of the toll on productivity. For example, studies have shown that procrastination negatively impacts on student performance. But putting off reading textbooks and writing essays may affect other areas of students' lives. In one study of over 3,000 German students over a 6-month period, those who study-related misconduct, such as cheating and plagiarism, But the behavior that procrastination was most closely linked with was using fraudulent excuses to get deadline extensions. Other research shows that employees on average spend almost a quarter of their workday procrastinating. And again, this is linked with negative outcomes. In fact, in one US survey of over 22,000 employees, participants who said they regularly procrastinated had less annual income and less employment stability. For every 1 point increase on a measure of chronic procrastination, annual income decreased by $15,000. Procrastination also correlates with serious health and well-being problems. A tendency to procrastinate is linked to poor mental health, including higher levels of depression and anxiety. Across numerous studies, I've found people who regularly procrastinate report a greater number of health issues, such as headaches, flu and colds, and digestive issues. They also experience higher levels of stress and poor sleep quality. They are less likely to practice healthy behaviors, such as eating a healthy diet and regularly exercising, and use destructive coping strategies to manage their stress. In one study of over 700 people, I found people prone to procrastination had a 63% greater risk of poor heart health after accounting for other personality traits and demographics. Finding better ways of managing our emotions is one route out of the vicious cycle of procrastination. An important first step is to manage our environment and how we view the task. There are a number of evidence-based strategies that can help us fend off distractions that can occupy our minds when we should be focusing on the thing we should be getting on with. For example, reminding ourselves about why the task is important and valuable can increase positive feelings towards it. Forgiving ourselves and feeling compassion when we procrastinate can help break the procrastination cycle. We should admit that we feel bad, but not be overly critical of ourselves. We should remind ourselves that we're not the first person to procrastinate, nor the last. Doing this can take the edge off the negative feelings we have about ourselves when we procrastinate. This can all make it easier to get back on track.